Train just really wanted to kick us off today. I think it's done. I think it's done with the horn. Nope. Give it another second. Maybe now. Okay. I think we're safe. Hello, everybody. My name is. Like Austin Powers. Okay. Let's try it again. My name is Randy Lowell. I'm the campus dean at USC Union and a professor of psychology. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out here today to help us celebrate the official opening of this new community lab in the Carnegie. The first Palmetto College iCarolina lab at USC Union. And your attendance here today is one of many examples of the ways in which the community supports the university. And as we find new ways to help support the community, and this being one of those. With us today, we have a number of groups represented that are, again, continuing to be great supporters of the community and the campus. We have members of Union City Council, Union County Council, we have mayors, we have members of our Commission on Higher Education, of our Partnership Board, legislators, Board of Trustees, our Development Board, our Library Board, our Chamber, our Union County School District, many of our students and faculty and staff, and so many more. I would definitely forget somebody if I try to name all of them, but many entities represented here today, and we're just so grateful for all your support in this and in everything else that we do. This day was made possible by Governor McMaster's allocation of Governor's Emergency Education Relief Funds to address the disparities that exist for rural communities in terms of access to technology. So we want to send a special thanks to the Governor for this. I'd also like to especially thank Bill Kirkland and Chancellor Elkins for their work in identifying the Palmetto College campuses as areas that really are well situated to serve that need, like ours is for these labs. And I also want to spend special thanks to the Carnegie staff, especially Taylor Atkinson and Lindsay Bowers, as well as our lab coordinator, John Michael Greer. They have put in a tremendous amount of work to get us to this point in preparing this space. And we'll continue to run the space and have it be a really good tool for the community to use, as well as the campus. So I hope everybody enjoys checking this out today. And again, just thank you all for being here to help us celebrate this. So with that said, I would like to welcome Chancellor Elkins to the podium.
Thank you, Dean Lowell. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm not sure who ordered up this weather today, but they get an A+, right? I guess that's for Dean Lowell, and he gets a raise. Is that it? How about it? Well, it is a beautiful day in Union, South Carolina, as we're here to celebrate the very first grand opening of the iCarolina lab, the Palmetto College iCarolina lab at USC Union. And as Dean Lowell said, we want to welcome all of you here today and thank you for being with us. I mean, it's a great crowd on a beautiful day, starting off with a train, so it doesn't get any better than that, does it? So there are many distinguished leaders and partners who were introduced. To all of you as honored guests, thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. Now, before we talk about the iCarolina lab, I must say just a little bit about USC Union, because this is just another jewel in the USC Union crown. So we've seen phenomenal growth over the last decade at USC Union from 2 buildings, main building and central, to a campus that now has multiple buildings on or near Main Street that help anchor Main Street, with the beautiful courthouse on one end and our now USC Union campus on the other end. So Dean Lowell and the USC Union team have continued to build on the successes of previous Dean John Catalano and others in the past in growing and improving the campus facilities, along with growing enrollment from about 350 to 400 to a record enrollment last fall and this spring of over 1,200 students. So did you get that? 400 to 1,200. I think that's times 3, like tripled. And so now we're just delighted to celebrate this next accomplishment of providing the gift of the iCarolina Learning Lab to the Union community in partnership with this beautiful, historic Carnegie Library. So thanks to you, Dean Lowell, and to the phenomenal USC team, USC Union team, along with our friends at the Carnegie Library who partner with us for our library services in general. And now we have this wonderful iCarolina Learning Lab inside this historic facility. So I would certainly be remiss if I didn't first bring you greetings from USC Interim President Harris Pastides, who couldn't be with us today, from members of our Board of Trustees. Now, even though they're not here, I assure you that they share our excitement today as we open this, again, very first Palmetto College iCarolina Learning Lab here at USC Union to serve the Union community free of charge. I don't know if those three words have been mentioned yet, but free of charge. Now, as Dean Lowell said, we are extremely grateful to Governor Henry McMaster for his outstanding leadership and commitment to our rural students and communities in providing basic access to broadband internet at a time when it plays such a vital role in increasing opportunities for participation in our state's economy. So we are so pleased that the governor thinks about our rural communities and cares just as much about us as any urban communities in the state. So last March 21, Governor McMaster awarded $6 million of the Governor's Emergency Education Relief Fund to the University of South Carolina, who in partnership with Benedict College is establishing 8 Apple computer labs statewide. So there will be 8 of these statewide. The network will include hubs in Columbia's Bull Street District at Benedict College, along with satellite labs at 6 of USC Palmetto College's regional campus sites. And all of those sites are located within 15 miles or less of a broadband desert. Lack of internet, in other words, a broadband desert, according to the South Carolina Broadband Map. So these labs will provide reliable technology and internet access to all of our Palmetto College communities around the state. So we owe a huge thanks to Governor McMaster, so please give him a big round of applause. And also, this funding would not have been possible without the USC leadership of Mr. Bill Kirkland. Bill's the Executive Director of the USC Office of Economic Engagement, and he has an outstanding team with him as well. So, Bill, stand up. You and your team wave so that people can thank you. So, Mr. Kirkland worked extremely close with the Governor's Office to secure the $6 million in funding for the project, and we are very grateful for your leadership, Bill, your commitment to educate and train the workforce of the future, including those, again, in the rural areas served by Palmetto College. So you'll hear from Mr. Kirkland a little bit later in the program, but we are so pleased to have you with us, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for remembering all of us in Palmetto College. So again, once the funding was secured, Dean Lowell reached out to our outstanding partner at the Carnegie Library, Director Taylor Atkinson. You'll also hear from her in a minute, and ask about locating the lab here in this beautiful award-winning Carnegie Library building. So here we are today, outside of, I think it's the oldest, and I would say the most beautiful, Carnegie Library in the state. We'll go shortly in for the ribbon cutting in the lab, thanks to the many, many hours of days, weeks, months of hard work and dedication of Dean Lowell, Director Atkinson, along with the Carnegie Library IT Director, Lindsay Bowles, USC Union iCarolina Lab Director, Mr. John Michael Greer, and the entire USC Union team and the Carnegie Library teams. So a huge thank you to all of those. And you know, these events just don't happen without a tremendous amount of work. So all of you have been involved. Stand up, let everybody please recognize you. Come on, don't be bashful. So also to our distinguished partners from Apple, since we were talking about Apple iCarolina Lab, it's your partnership, Apple, with the state of South Carolina that's at the very core of this effort. So I'm delighted to thank Ms. Jenna Collins, the manager of Apple Strategic Initiatives, who couldn't be with us today, But also with us, we are thrilled to have Mr. Rusty Boozer, who's the Senior Account Executive for Apple Education, Dr. Charles Long, who is the Higher Education Leadership Executive, and Mr. Tim Matheny, Senior Systems Engineer. So our partners from Apple are all over on this side, so wave everybody. And then finally, we owe a huge thank you to our Palmetto College leader for all 6 of our Palmetto College labs in the project, and that leader is Dr. Carl Owens, who's the Palmetto College iCarolina Labs Project Director, and he is also a distinguished Apple educator who's been working with Apple for over 30 years. So you'll also hear from Dr. Owens as we have demonstrations, but Dr. Owens, would you please stand and wave at everybody in the crowd too? So in closing, again, we extend our deepest thanks to each of you for being with us to celebrate this historic grand opening of the very first Palmetto College iCarolina Learning Lab at USC Union. The first grand opening of these 8 labs across the state that are providing access to broadband internet and opening the doors to many opportunities in this great state of South Carolina for students all across this wonderful state. So again, thank you so much for being here. We look forward to more in the program. Thank you.
I won't say, we're not in church, but it's a revival, so we won't raise our hands and start praying, but we might in a minute, because I am in union, y'all don't mind doing that, so amen. See, I got some people doing that's good. Now, I was kind of hoping the train would come by. We were laughing earlier. If it come by for like 3 minutes, I could say like Forrest Gump, and that's all I got to say about that. So maybe flashback, but a little humor from Bill Kirkland. I'm Bill Kirkland with the University of South Carolina. I work with the president and the governor on several things, but this is by far the one I'm most proud of. I spent this morning with a bunch of developers talking about building out campuses in North Carolina and NC State, and we got to the end of my presentation, a bunch of people in the room. They didn't look like us, by the way. We're from South Carolina, so they need to go back to North Carolina. But I was sitting there, and we were talking, and I said, before we end, I just want to let y'all know I appreciate what you're doing, but I'm going to do what matters. I'm going to USC Union and work with Apple to build an Apple Mac Lab Learning Center, iCarolina, or whatever. At the end of the day, we're students, and I can't, there he is. He was on the front row. He was looking at it, and the young lady that was drawing earlier, there she, see, I caught you. Raise your hand. That's it. Guys, that's what it's all about, is how do we allow our community, the mayor, if he'd like to come in, whoever, and learn how to use technology. And technology that we can't hold it back. It's going that direction. So how do we get on board? So when I was meeting with the governor, he sends his regards. Actually, by the way, I'm fortunate to work with him on behalf of the university on a lot of initiatives. But he sat down with me one day and he said, hey, we got this governor emergency relief, these funds for education. What do you think we should do, Bill? And I met with a couple of Apple folks, and Rusty, thanks for driving, coming over from Tennessee. And I said, why don't we look at partnering with Benedict? And that was one of the ideas we had for the HBCU system. But also, why can't we take some of these funds and take it out to the rural communities in South Carolina and make a difference? And we feed the students or community to where they then can become more IT proficient, but also it's the next wave of jobs. And a lot of you can work from home. So it really was an easy decision on the governor's part. And then at the time, President Kaz, but now President Pastige, all jumped on board and said, let's go do this. So my role was simple. Working with a relationship I have with the governor and the president of the university is, how do we do this? And I called Susan. And I called, I think, Randy, and I said, oh, by the way, I got a few $1 million. And by the way, they stopped. And Susan became well, she's always my good friend, but she became my best friend at that moment. And Randy did too. And I haven't met the program director, but I've been on emails with him. So we're really excited. The governor's excited. What really makes a difference, like I was talking to that group, they're doing all that really neat, Columbia, Raleigh, all these developments and all this money, but this is what matters to South Carolina. This is it. At the end of the day, how do we take and everyone gets equal access or enhanced access to high-tech Apple products where you learn, you draw, you do things like, these are things that we didn't have yesterday here at Union. So I'm proud to be here. I'm working on the additional funding for operationalizing this. Randy, I know, is happy to hear that. That's the next step. But again, from the governor, from Chairman Peeler, from Secretary of Commerce Harry Lightsey, and all the others, they're all behind this, and they see it's the future for technology, future for workforce development, and Apple's going to be a great partner. I'm not supposed to call Rusty's name because they're supposed to hide behind the trees because Apple doesn't allow them to be acknowledged. So I'd like for everybody to look over at Rusty. Rusty, get from behind the tree. Come out, Rusty. Come out. He's from South Carolina. He's from Greenville area. Rusty, and I want to thank Rusty and his team for what they've done for us. And he loves South Carolina, and he's all about making it right. So welcome. If I can ever help you, Randy's got my contact info. I'd love to come back up and see how we're doing. So God bless you, and y'all have a great day. Get behind the tree. Come on. Come sit with me. We'll get fired, by the way. Don't see them on camera. Don't start taking pictures.
Let me take my mask off. Good morning. My name is Taylor Atkinson, and I have served Union County since 2017, first as the Assistant Director of the Library and currently as the Executive Director. Although I'm not originally from Union, I am deeply invested in this county and its residents, and I would like to thank you all for joining us today at our historic Carnegie Library. If this is your first time visiting us, welcome, and welcome to the oldest Carnegie Library in South Carolina, as Chancellor Elkins said. This building has been in Union County since 1905. Thanks to immense support from our state legislators, this library underwent a historic renovation and restoration in 2018. During this renovation, we moved out of the library, and eventually myself and the former library director, Rita Drinkwine, ended up working out of an office on campus a couple of blocks away at USC Union. While we were out of our beloved library and out of our element, USC Union was nothing but welcoming to us, and a true partnership began to form. Once the Carnegie reopened in September 2018, we were no longer the Union County Carnegie Library. Instead, we were the Union County Library System and held the unique distinction of being both the public library for Union County and the academic library for USC Union. To this day, we are still the only hybrid library in the state, and our uniqueness doesn't stop there. We house a number of nonprofits and organizations, many of whom are here with us today, including SC Works and SC Do, Safe Homes and Safe Passage, and Union County Miracle League. Last year, we opened a community food pantry just inside to begin tackling food insecurity, and this pantry is free, anonymous, and open whenever the library is open. We work closely with the Union County School District and Union County First Steps, and we're proud to open a kindergarten readiness center downstairs in the children's area to allow our youngest Union County residents to enter kindergarten ready to learn. Just inside these doors, as many of you have seen in our historic area, we currently have a national exhibit on display called Thinking Money for Kids. This interactive exhibit uses games and activities to help children understand what money is and learn about money values, such as fairness, responsibility, and charitableness. Union is one of 50 sites and the only site in South Carolina who was selected to host this exhibit on its multi-year tour of the United States. I could go on, but I want to speak on our newest endeavor, the Palmetto College iCarolina Lab. We are honored to be the debut lab in the state, and there are many people I need to thank for this opportunity. First, as we all have said, thank you to Governor McMaster for allocating emergency education relief funds to establish these labs across the state. As a rural county, we are all too aware of the effects on residents when there is a lack of broadband and technology. Thank you, as always, to our legislators, Senators Peeler, Martin, and Cromer, and Representatives Norman and Gillum for your support of our library and libraries across the state. Thank you to everyone at USC and USC Union, including Chancellor Elkins, for your passion and enthusiasm for this project, and Dr. Randy Lowell for your support. I'd be remiss without thanking my amazing library board, especially board chair William Rochester, who's sitting out in the audience, who is our biggest supporter and advocate. And last but certainly not least, I need to thank my library staff, most of whom you actually noticed are inside the building assisting patrons as I speak. Everything that we do on a daily basis, from helping patrons print a pay stub, to signing someone up for SNAP benefits, to helping a child pick out a new chapter book to read, would not be possible without their dedication and hard work. I am so grateful to work with this group, and we are honored to serve Union County. Thank you. And I would next like to introduce Mr. John Michael Greer, iCarolina Lab Coordinator, and Dr. Carl Owens, Palmetto College iCarolina Lab Project Director.
Good morning, and thank you for coming out. My name is John Michael Greer. I am a Union native. I am the Palmetto College iCarolina Lab Coordinator, and I would like to welcome you to the Community iCarolina Lab. This lab is made possible by the GEAR funds allocated by Governor McMaster, and for our campus and other University of South Carolina regional campuses. We are very thankful to so many that have helped us make this lab become a reality, and I hope to see many of our students using this lab as well as our community. I am very excited for this. I would have loved to have this coming up in the system. It would have been really wonderful to have. With this, some of our students have expressed interest in our recent poetry scholarship contest that we have held, and we have selected 3 students to read these poems. These 3 students will also receive a $1,000 scholarship to go towards their tuition. And the theme of these poems was, what does USC Union and Palmetto College mean to you? So I would like to step back and let these students read their poems for you. First, I want to have Brittany Hightower.
Hey everybody. A Palmetto College built in a small town, from a few students to over 1,000. A place to learn, grow, and maybe even settle down. The fright of leaving high school, all you've ever known, to go somewhere new, that empty feeling of being alone. But you still chase your dreams, you finally feel grown, gradually you realize that USC Union is your new home. Professors know you by name, you're not just a number here. They care about your well-being and they care about your career. Students in the classroom or even teammates on the field, eventually those friendships bloom and a family is revealed. A stepping stone into the real world with memories of a lifetime. What was once the scariest change is developing you to your prime. Growing from just 2 buildings to now making the news, adding more clubs and associations, all for students to choose. By having high-end technology, it creates endless opportunities at the fingertips of students, all to help our community. Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce CJ Williams.
Hello. USC Union is the lighthouse. Palmetto College is the fuel. Without the fuel, the ship is destined to crash. Without the lighthouse, the ship will get lost. The storm is never ending. Yet with the guidance of the lighthouse and the fuel to keep moving, there is no need to worry.
All right, and next I would like for Thomas Darkast to come on.
I'm Thomas. I wrote an analogy, but it also fits the parameters of a haiku. It's about my opportunity here at USC Union, but I think it can be applied to pretty much everything in life, even the relationship of USC Union to Palmetto College, and even the opening of the iCarolina lab. Opportunity is to success as failure is to progression.
Thank you for that. And now I would like to let Dr. Carl Owens say a few words.
Good morning. It is an honor to be here today for the grand opening of the Palmetto College iCarolina lab at USC Union. I'm Carl Owens, the Palmetto College iCarolina lab project director. I want to first acknowledge Dr. Susan Elkins and the other members of the team for inviting me here to be a part of this project. I worked with Susan for more than 20 years at Tennessee Tech and was very sad to see you guys win by getting her in South Carolina. I've worked in K-12 and higher education, in rural areas, rural communities, and at the university level for over 45 years. I've also served as an Apple Distinguished Educator since 1998 and have had the opportunity to work with projects like this around the country and around the globe. Because this is a special day, I have something special to make this day even more special for one individual. It is a Think Different poster. You may Google the Think Different poster set, and you'll find that it was a marketing campaign by Apple to showcase artists, creative people around the world. So you may Google that. Steve Jobs was crucial to the selection of the historical subjects that were included in this poster set. He enabled the selection and speed of negotiation with them, and all were famous, and many had never had their photographs used outside of a campaign like this. So the one that I'm giving away today is Jim Henson and Kermit the Frog. And if you Google these, they have become exceptionally collectible. So the person who will win this poster today, if you look under your chair, you will see a little yellow sticky note with a symbol. It's under the bottom of the chair, so you'll have to stand and look at the bottom of your chair. And if you are that lucky person, you get to win this collectible poster. I'll give you a hint. It's on this side of the tent, so look again. And yeah, it's a yellow sticky note, and it has a symbol. Yes, come. And I might add, this is from my personal collection. You really can't find these any longer. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be working with the project. So thank you, and I think we're ready now to go inside. Yes.
All right, and so now Dr. Lowell will close us out, and we will head on in so that way we can eat and have some demonstrations of the new technology.
Just one more thing to do real quick. In honor of this event and this day, and in special appreciation to Chancellor Elkins for helping bring this, coordinate this for all the Palmetto College campuses. We also are going to be awarding 2 scholarships, adding it to our scholarship lineup for next fall, for 2 students next fall in honor of this occasion. So I have a letter to present to Chancellor Elkins regarding this, and we're just looking forward to having everybody use this space, and so we'll head on in now and cut this ribbon. Thank you. especially Taylor Atkinson.
You know when you show up.